I made $10.3 million with Instagram DMs as a 22-year-old stoner and a two-time college dropout. And specifically what made me rich was a three-part ABC DM formula. Okay, yes, ABC, even so simpler, a toddler could learn it. This is my reaction after closing this person on a live training call with one of my best Indian closers, Vamsi. Wait, what? That's what I'm fucking talking about, bro. Live on the ride along. I'm telling you. And in fact, I've tied to over 50 chat closers that I was paid a lot to manage. Okay. And in fact, what I found out is the weird fact is that the better you are at video games like Apex Legends, the more money you'll make, which I'll get to in a moment. First of all, I just want to say that I'm going to re-record this video. Like, I just need to get this out today. So I'm just reading the scripts, but I'm probably going to make a newer version later down the line with, better editing, visuals, stuff like that. This is just my script. This is my Google Doc. Anyway, so now it's easy to sell courses and coaching to warm traffic that throws money at you, but how do you turn no's into yeses? In this video, we're going to go over how I took a real customer, Gerald, from saying no 2 times to enthusiastically paying over $400, paying for multiple products over the months. As you can see in this screenshot here, boom, 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 right? Now, although this sale is relatively small, we usually chat close $997 courses and up to $8,800 coaching programs, but I'm showing this example because it's very recent. You can use this 3-part ABC closing formula, the same for any price point at any product in any moment in a chat conversation. And in fact, the Instagram DMs in the title was a kind of clickbait because you can use this over Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, iMessage, or any social platform that you can physically chat on, including email, right? This just does not include phone. Okay, so in this exact formula, this is the exact reason why I was privately invited to work with the world's biggest agency owners for the past half decade, like Jason Capital and Cole Gordon, to help out, with their clients like Tony Robbins, Jay Shetty, Les Brown, Wolf of Wall Street, Brooke Castillo, Alex Hormozi, Grant Cardone, and Robert Kiyosaki's company, to name a few, making an average of 279 high-ticket clients a month and $301,000 a month in revenue over my career thus far, with the majority of that revenue from chat sales. And here is how. There's 3 parts. Let's talk about the first part in 3-part formula, which is A. This stands for A, mirror. I know, it's the only way to make the acronym work, so shoosh. For this to make sense, just know that the world is currently paying over $173 billion with a B for therapy every year right now. Listen, I've tried therapy 2 to 3 times, and after not a lot of advice and an empty hole in my pocket, I stopped. But what my therapist did correctly was made me feel heard. With social media ironically making us less social, we live in a world that's getting more lonely, more depressed than ever in world history. So feeling heard and feeling like you have a friend in the world that relates to you is incredibly valuable. Now, this is where every other chat sales trainer goes wrong. If you're a Leslie, which is a keyword for bitch, the biggest problem you're doing is saying, I hear you, I understand, and gotcha after every single thing they say. Or if, if you suck, you probably are not even acknowledging what they're saying at all. So now if you have tens of thousands of followers and you're the authority with the high status, you may be able to get away with that, right? Like the accounts we've closed on. But if you or your sales rep is playing the assistant character, which I truly recommend for anyone on your team, speaking from experience, losing millions of dollars over the years over this, you don't want to leave a shit stain on your brand or your client's brand over some disgruntled sales rep with autistic Redditor social skills. Unfortunately, one bad screenshot could topple your decade-long brand. So fully recommend going from the assistant angle. For example, one of our assistant characters is named Nicole. I don't know why I just said that. Nicole. So what would you think if you typed your whole life story to her on chat for 10 minutes and Nicole, the assistant, hits you with, I hear you, right? You think this person isn't hearing me. I got to go, right? So what is the solution? So if you want to stop being a Leslie and be a Thor instead, you need to do more than just listen to them. How? Not by affirming what they're saying, because that barely provides any value, but saying how you're just like them, a friend in this cold, lonely world, and this will make them like you, right? Because listen to me very carefully. In this post-trust economy, people don't usually buy from strangers, they buy from friends. And what is a friend? Someone they like. How do you generate likability? You just show that you are just like them. This is why we call this a mirror, because our friends are near mirror images to us. So this example, he says, I'm interested in helping Steve. However, and this is, helping our client, Steve. No, I'm tapped out right now, would have to save up for it. Anyway, so he's saying a bunch of stuff. Basically, he's broke. And let's break it down. So here he said 2 things. He says, I'm tapped out right now, would have to save up for it. Remember that specific language. I just have no way to generate extra money right now. He is indicating brokey. And when he says, I'm interested in helping Steve, he's indicating he has a buyer motivation, which we'll talk about later, to help Steve. And so we say this to mirror him. So obviously, if you're doing this for yourself, like they're saying they want to help you, that's the same example. So we mirror him. So what did my boy Vamsy do? He said, that's great. You want to help Steve too. Okay. Make it socially normal, right? We are just like them. We're mirroring them. And I've been there too. In fact, I'm a working student with 2 full-time jobs to save up money. Okay. Those couple sentences created retention and likability in this chat, in this conversation. Why? Because we did not just affirm what he said. We did not just affirm what he said, but we also genuinely related. The power here is in the specific example of how we're broke too. If we were general and said, been there too, bro, it wouldn't actually work as well as sharing our specific relatable story. Remember this, when it comes to chat closing, specificity is your best form of proof in conversation when you don't have studies, screenshots, or authority. So remember, when he said he needed to save up, we mirrored him by saying the specific quote of having 2 full-time jobs just to save up some money. We didn't say, hey, I'm broke, I need to stop being broke, right? We used their words, their exact words. So see how the same story is interchangeable with the specific phrasing that they use? Does that make sense? So now, because of the specificity, Gerald now says, this person I'm talking to understands me. They're just like me in a way. This brings down the anti-sales armor, again, which I'll explain in a minute, so we can go in for the elimination. Now, don't make this weird, like that's just a metaphor, okay? AKA make the sale. Exchange his money for our value. So now that was a mirror, which is honestly, the easiest part, but the part that is probably not seen many times. Like most people don't do it. So without the next part, you can't make any sales. And this is one of the most important parts thus far, this next part. I'm not going to do an ad in this video because my shit is broken at the moment. So this is going to be a pure value video. Second part, B. The second part is B, stands for buyer motivation. So the fact is that people buy for different reasons. Billion-dollar companies agree. Like Forbes says there's 4 general reasons: solving a problem, being heard, logic, emotion. HubSpot says there's 23 reasons, But the problem is, for Leslie's, is that Leslie fundamentally does the opposite of what you should do in sales. He gives them the same pitch to every different buyer and prospect, regardless of their buyer motivation, like trying to jam a square peg into a round hole. It doesn't work. What does Thor do? They shape the round hole into a square one, or a star one, or a triangle. Whatever the shape the prospect comes in, they mold the product to be. Kind of like what Jackie Chan says with be formless, shapeless like water. Anyway, so now this does not mean you should lie, but it does mean to express only the benefits that they care about and remove benefits that they don't. This is called showing value that is unique to the person. So this is where every chat sales trainer fucks up. They teach everyone to copy and paste the script, when in reality, people are not one size fits all. Instead, you need a syntax. The ABC formula is a syntax. It is a structured order to think. Okay, Cole Gordon, who, when we're doing this and working together, making 40 million a year, he taught me that sales is just about removing objections before the close. So what are we looking for specifically? All the objections, all the motivations, and answering them in one fell swoop, right? We're not trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're trying to kill 5 in 1, okay? So I'll admit this is the most challenging part of the formula because sometimes you need to look in between the lines. And if you're like me, like I grew up so socially autistic, I was scared of my grandmother at the dinner table, right? So this is something that I had to learn manually. So you need to look in between the lines. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I will show you. Doing this for the half decade straight has trained my eyeballs to go do that. So you can do the same too. So a lot of people get stuck with this one, but think of it this way. Every human has evolved to have anti-sales armor. Why? Because if not, everyone would be homeless because they couldn't resist every product or service that they're advertised. So this is a good evolution, and it's an armor that gets thicker and thicker every single year. Why? Because back in the 70s, people got advertised to as little as 500 times a day, which still sounds like a lot. But today in the 2020s, like I showed in here, 6,000 to 10,000 times a day with influencers, branding, one-click retargeting, and more. We just get advertised to 20 times as much as our parents and grandparents did. This is exactly why humans have evolved to have this anti-sales armor, right? Once you damage the armor, you can get the elimination though. And that means sale in this metaphor, so just hang on with me. Now, knowing that, let me introduce you to a fun battle royale game called Apex Legends, which I'm not sponsored by yet, which back in the day, I was a huge DGen pothead, would play this game 8 to 12 hours a day, and I was ranked Diamond 3 for, which only the top 1% players got into, which I'm super proud of, more than anything else I've done. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can applaud now. Anyway, so I'm just skeptical seeing this too, so hang in there. Just in this game, there's different colored armor. There's white, blue, purple, and red. So now in the context of sales, think of buyer motivation and objections this way. Regardless of the color, each colored armor protects you the same amount each, but can only be damaged by bullets of that specific color. So the white bullets damage white armor, blue damage blue, purple damage purple. You get the picture. So just remember this. In every response they give us, they will give us the correct colored bullet to damage their specifically colored armor. Okay. Now back to Gerald. He basically said 4 things in this response. He said, and this was his original no, his first no. So he said 2 objections and 2 buyer motivations that will lead us to the sale. This is our bullets of different colors. So start off with the objections, because if you don't get rid of this, their sales armor does not fall off. You cannot influence them if their armor is on. So objection 1 is the money objection, which is represented by I'm tapped out right now and no way to generate extra money right now. Objection 2 is the delay objection, represented by during the summer, I would be in a better position to get this program. Now, those are the 2 objections out of the 4 things he said. The remaining 2 things are buyer motivations, aka the remaining bullets we need to get the elimination and the benefits they'll push him to buy, right? So buyer motivation 1, he sees the value in the course. It's a great price, is what he said. He led with this. It's not to learn shit, right? It's not to make an extra 10K in 30 days. No, but it is to support his hero, Steve, which he said, I'm interested in helping Steve. So we're going to go stack this tutorial with the last part. So this makes sense. But remember, we already related to him with a mirror here. So that's great. You're here to help Steve too. I've been there too. In fact, I'm a working student with 2 full-time jobs. So we've related to him. He thinks we are exactly like him, right? Or similar to his situation. Now let's move on to B, buyer motivation. Here we took a delay objection, his money objection, and combined it with his value buyer motivation, which is this big sales smoothie, essentially. This is what we call the urgency tie down. It's where you give them the option to delay, but give them a punishment for it. Usually that's either taking away limited time bonuses or more commonly the threat of raising the price. So what does this do? They already know they want to join, and buying now is the most affordable, smartest option to take. This is truthful and it works. So what we said is, yes, you can join in the summer. So you don't, we're not arguing with him. We're just telling him facts. We're telling him pathway A or pathway B, right? So that is the biggest thing. If you read Robert Greene's book about laws of human nature, one of the core pieces of that and humans making decisions on their own is knowing that they can make any choice they want, whether it is yes, no, they need choice, right? So, and they need the choice to refuse. So yes, you can join in the summer, but the course will be fully released in its official version and the price is likely to go up to a bunch of money. But if you join now for the test group, you can get in for as little as 147. Now, here's the key to remember. Sales is just the opening gap between heaven, where they want to go, and hell, where they are right now. It's their current painful situation. And you try to stretch that gap. Think of it from like the highway from hell to heaven. You want to stretch it as wide as possible. We do this to increase their pain and making buying the solution the smartest option to take to relieve the pain. So this works when you do a downsell to installment plans using something called a price anchor. Okay. This is where we increase the value for the purpose of dropping it to create massive contrasting value now. So for context in this example, in the sales video, the price of the course membership community was $1,247 when launching officially, but the test group was launching at only $497. So that's about 60% off or more, 70. Gerald said no, and he wants to delay, saying he doesn't have $497 right now. But as a business, we still want to generate some revenue by selling him onto an installment plan, because later down the line, he might, have the money to pay, right? And he is in the buyer window. He is ready to buy. And it's harder to warm someone up after they have cooled off. So like when they're in the buyer window, which is, very short amount of time after they've learned about the offer, you want to do this as fast as humanly possible. So we do this by tying his delay to a painful big price, the $1,300, and tying buying right now is a small crumb comparatively, right? So think, it is $1,300, boom, drop it down, only $147 today. All right. Also note that because they didn't see the installment price before, this feels like they've won a special deal, which makes them feel higher status compared to other chumps who paid full price. His thoughts, not mine. So we anchor the price here at this price as the cost of delaying. So again, yes, you can join in the summer, like he said, so we're agreeing with him, but the course will be fully released in its official version and the price is likely to go up to $1,300. Then drop it to installment plan price of $147 now. But if you join now, instant gratification for the test group, you can get in for as little as $147 now. You see how, I think I explained this later. Also, this may be advanced, but see how we added USD, the $, and the comma for the price anchor to make it look as expensive as possible. See this? $, comma, USD. Then we drop the price to the dirt, saying it's as little as $147 now. As little as makes it feel like it's fucking pennies compared to the original price. Then we remove $, to make the price feel arbitrary and valueless, right? So it's even less value. It's $147 what? It's just $147. So for as little as $147 now. So that's a really small copy tweak right there. So in simple terms, we went from big price for delaying to small price for buying now. Now, that we've covered A and B, let's move on to number 3, which is how you actually get the fucking money. And without this step, you will be broke. LOL. Okay. I wrote this like 3 months ago. All right. Now, the third and final part in this 3-part ABC formula is C. This stands for the Cool Kids Club call to action, right? Now, everybody remembers how this works in a way. Think about the cool kids at the lunch table or just the cool kids in your school. As humans, we live in social hierarchies. We used to live in tribes. Those hierarchies are based on people that are deemed cool, aka the high status of that tribe. Being cool means that you have high authority, you're getting the best results, or just people they want to be like or are already like. Usually this means they have something that the people below them in the social hierarchy in the tribe want. So if we had a tribe of 10 people and there was only one banana, this is why scarcity works so well. The alpha of the tribe will usually get first dibs to that banana, to that resource, making everyone else in the tribe feel lower status in comparison. That's why we say higher status, lower status, because it's always a comparison game, right? It's like the Joneses. Like the Joneses has a house I don't have, right? So I'm not in the club anymore. So this is all what makes them part of the Cool Kids Club in our minds. It's fully based on comparison, fully based on perception, right? There's something Hermosi told me is that, like a mom, she might not get status from buying a Lamborghini, even though 18-year-old, 20-year-old, 30-year-old dude, they would gain massive status from buying a, Lamborghini of some sort, because to our group, 20-year-old dudes, we think that's cool. So it raises our status for our tribe. But for a, stay-at-home mom, it would lower her status in her tribe of stay-at-home moms, right? So for her, it would actually raise her value if she got a minivan, because everyone in that tribe wants that thing and only she has that thing, right? That's the point. Scarcity and exclusivity is part of status. Okay. Now, most Leslies will screw this up. Most either don't give a call to action, says, does that make sense? Or they just let the customer lead the conversation themselves, which if that's you, you are an order taker and you will be replaced by AI. No doubt about that, right? Like I am working on AI closers right now to shit on you. Okay, straight up. So this is how you won't get replaced by AI is do what Thor does. What does Thor do? He uses social proof in combo with exclusivity, making them feel like all the cool high status people are inside and they're just like them for a specific reason. And they end up pulling the trigger that much easier. You could say it's to relieve loneliness, to hop on the next coolest thing. I don't know. It just works, right? It's to join and gain status. And at the end of the day, that's what humans are wired to do. We are to not lower our status and we are to heighten our status as much as possible. That is what making money is all about. That's what, everything in life that we go towards is all about. It's about raising our status in a tribe and usually about getting the most attractive mate, usually at the top of the status hierarchy. Like that is it. So now that we've broken that down, here's an example. So would it be overstepping to ask you to try it? Based on your form answers, by the way, just in context, he filled out a form before this. So yeah, this makes sense. Other people just like you are helping Steve inside, right? So back to Gerald, one last Tim. Last time. We related to their form answers to create the Cool Kids Club. Think of it like getting invited to the Cool Kids lunch table. Everyone wants that. And by being his friend, highlighting his buyer motivation, and using exclusive social proof to call to action, it's a sales cocktail that spits out cash like no other. Gerald ended up buying over $400 worth of shit after saying no and he couldn't afford it, resulting in this live reaction. We're the same. Wait, what? That's what I'm fucking talking about, bro. Live on the ride along. I'm telling you. And again, here's a Stripe screenshot to prove, he spent over $400. So would it be overstepping to ask you to try it? So see how we did things, right? So would it be overstepping? Something Hermosi showed me is leading with no based questions, right? It's easier to say no than yes. So something he used on me to sell me his book is, would it be overstepping, right? So that is an easy one to say, no, you're not overstepping. Other ways to say this is, would you be against? I think the best way to do it is a conversational way is, would you mind, right? That's very easy. Would you mind if I asked you to try it, right? So that's very easy. Agreement. You're not going just for the no or the yes. You're going for the agreement versus, can you try it? That seems a little bit needy and it's harder to get the yes there, right? So would it be overstepping to ask you to try it? And again, we're not saying have it forever and keep it and spend $1 billion. We're saying try it, right? Another way to do it is say, test it. That's one of the best call to actions. It's like, can I ask you to test it? And also see how we're saying not just the no based question. We say, well, would it be overstepping if I asked you? So it's not even agreeing to buying. We're saying, is it, would you mind if I asked you to try it versus would you mind if you tried it? Right? It's like the barrier of agreeing is that much lower, right? So based on your form answers, and this is where we build the Cool Kids Club thing, right? So we say, based on your form answers, other people just like you are helping Steve inside. So his buyer motivation is helping Steve. And we're like, hey, we know you based on this form. And we can say the people that have already bought and are doing what you want to do, which is helping Steve, they're inside. Okay. They're the cool kids that you want to be like. They're already inside. That's what they did. So what we're doing is we're creating a social norm. Okay. I don't think this is as strong as an identity, for example. So this is a B2C example, meaning, you're selling to everyone of a fan base, but if you go and say you're selling towards accountants, right? So if you said, based on your form answers, or you can do a qualification set earlier, which I can do another video about, basically asking questions to see if they're qualified to buy, right? Is you say, hey, all the other accountants the top accountants that are making the most money, right? That's the high status people they want to be like in that tribe. All the top accountants are already inside and they had very similar answers to yours. So it'd be a disservice if I didn't ask you to try it. They're enjoying it. They're just like you. So why don't you try it? Right. And you see with this payment link here, like don't even try to use this link. It's broken. So try is part of the domain. So a lot of people don't see it this way, but I do. Everything you do, everything you say is branding, is advertising, is marketing, is sales, right? So even the domain link is part of the sale. If the domain link looks spammy and scammy and it looks big, like to make the payment, if it looks terrible, your conversion rate goes down. But if it is very chill, it's custom, and it matches what you said. You said, would you mind if you tried it? See how try is in the domain. Okay. So that increases conversion rate. Cool. All right. So I know this was a complete fire hose of a tutorial that it took me a whole week to put together. And I did this months ago because I got busy with clients. My top closers that make over 10,000 a month, they watch trainings like this one at least 2 to 3 times before it actually clicks in their head, because repetition is the mother of learning. I'm going to say that again. Repetition is the mother of learning. You need to not watch things to know it. You need to watch things until you can teach it, right? So if making chat sales on demand is important to you, go ahead and rewatch this video until you understand. And I cannot stress this enough, guys. I'm not doing a call to action in this video. There is no promo, no pitch. As far as just learning this and getting this down and making as many chat sales as possible, watch this over, okay? There's decades of marketing and sales wisdom in here that I've collected through millions of dollars lost and millions of dollars made, right? So I hope you understand this. So to do that, keep tagging me on Twitter and Instagram with your success stories, at Jordan Schwan, right? And watch this next video if you want to get even more rich, which when I'm recording this, there's no other videos, but watch this other video if there's more videos on the screen. All right. Peace.